So I'm going to take you through some steps on how you might make a UML diagram for our car. So I'm in this website here for Lucid Chart. You can create your chart in this tool, or if you have other preferences, but this will get us started here. So I'm going to look at the standard templates here. So UML diagram is what I'm looking for, so let's choose this. And UML is for objects in any kind of computer language, so not necessarily PHP. But here we go. Let's go look down in our UML classes, and I've got an item that looks like it'll work. It's just called class. So I'll drag him out onto the screen. So we've got ourselves a class. We'll call it car. Now we think of our attributes that are in there. So let's clear out the ones that are here. We use a minus sign to indicate that it's a private. And so we first of all have the number of tires, and so let's say that's an integer. How many engines does it have? That'll be an integer. Or we could just say maybe it has one engine. We could call it a Boolean, so that way it's a true-false value. And we would have a tire pressure property, so let's put that as an integer. And let's make a property called maybe is running. And that's a true or false, so that's Boolean. Okay, so maybe that's enough properties to get started. Let's go look at the actions that we would create. So down here in the bottom section, we're going to create some things such as we need to be able to install a tire, right? So let's go add tires. And we'll put in a parentheses to indicate that that's an action. What else do we need here? Install engine, how about? And that will be a true-false property setting. We have tire pressure, so we should be able to, how about inflate tires? Now you could inflate tires by a certain number. We could say increase it by a value, or we could say inflate tires to. Depends on how you want to program it. So if we say inflate it to, that would be simpler. It would just put the number in for the tire pressure rather than adding it. Let's see, we have a start method. I think we also had something called a restart, and we had a stop method. Let's check to see what else they had in here. It says it can run between 0 and 60 miles an hour. So we probably have a method in there. Let's call it set speed. That would be a way to run our car. We're expecting an integer to go in there, so let's put in maybe another parameter. Install engine is a true false, inflate tires to integer, start, restart, stop, set speed. Looks like that'll be expecting another parameter. So put in the parameters if the method is going to require them. Okay, so you can see I've brought up my text editor, my Eclipse editor. We're going to start working on this car image here, and I'm going to let you finish it. So what we would do to start is a new PHP project. Let's still call this thing Unit 1, and let's call it Cars. Inside of this folder, we're going to make a new file, so a PHP file, and we'll call it car. And the class name is just going to be the same as the file name, so class car. Alright, so we're ready to begin. First of all, we need the properties. You notice I have a minus sign in front of each of my properties, and so that indicates private. So we'll say private, and we'll call it tires. Now, don't forget $signs, and let's put the other ones in. So private engine, and private, instead of engine, maybe we could call it has engine. That would make more sense because it's a Boolean. Alright, so I've just simply created the properties here based on my chart that I created. Okay, now a little bit more complicated is some of the other items here. So add tires, I'll give you maybe 1 or 2 of these and you can come up with the rest of them. So let's see, let's make a function here. I'll call it public function. Let's do the first function. It's called add tires. And we're expecting a value. So I'm going to say number of new tires. So really the rules for a normal car are to have anywhere from 0 to 4 tires. So we should check to see if this new tire thing is going to actually work. So remember, they can put in a large number like 9 tires, or someone might even put in a negative number, which would really throw things off. So let's do some if statements. So let's check to see if this is in the right range. So we'll say if the number of tires is greater than 0 and it is less than 4. How about? Less than or equal to 4. If that's true, then we can continue on. Else we would give them a message and say echo that is invalid. Okay, so there's our first check. So I want to check to see if the current number plus the new number is greater than 4. So the current number is this arrow called tires. If that plus the number of new tires, if that is greater than 4, then we have another problem. All right, it looks like we've got another if, and this one is going to be the else statement. Finally, if we get to this block here, we know that we are valid. So we'll just say that this and the tires equals this tires plus the number of new tires. So after we add the new tires here, let's put a message out to the user. We'll say you installed a number of tires. All right, let's turn on the word wrap so we can see the whole thing. So there we go. Our message is you installed a number of tires. You now have this arrow tires on your car. So I'm going to save that. Now we would also create a new tester. So let's go and create a new PHP file and let's call it car tester. And in this we would create a import first of all. So we would require once the car object, and then we're going to create a new car. Let's call it race car, and it is a new car. And let's get started then. We could say race car arrow, and then it says we have a method called add tires, and let's try to add 3. All right, we'll save that. I'm going to come over here. So I'm coming over here, I'm going to refresh my page. I have unit 1 cars. Let's do car tester. It says you've installed 3. Now you have 3 tires on your car. It looks to me like the first method is working. So here is your homework. I've implemented the add tires method. I've done some checking in here to make sure I can't get more or less than 0 to 4. And also I have some requirements to go. So look at here. You must do the requirements in the list. Let's check to see if you can do an inflate command. You can maybe do a tire removal. You can start it, set the speed, and tell us the color. So here it's a starting point here. I got the car tester and I've got the car object going. Your methods are going to have to be your own design. So a lot to work on here.